Well, hello. Welcome to Cranktown City. And today, big day here. I ran into a dude who was headed off to the scrapyard, and he let me have a pick through his truck before he went there. So I got this little 14-inch wood bandsaw and a couple of motors down here, and we're gonna try and convert this bandsaw into a horizontal metal bandsaw. So strap on your boots, it's about to get sketchy in here. From the outside looking in, you know, you'd think it was made out of chintzy sheet metal, but 90% of this thing are cast iron. And it's really looking like a pretty quality little saw. Too bad I don't touch fucking wood. So the first part that I'm going to be working on are the blade guides that will take the blade and set it at a 45-degree angle from the saw. That way, the saw can be a horizontal bandsaw. And yes, you saw that correctly, I'm using fidget spinner bearings. Aren't I just a trendy little shit? So I've cut out a few parts on the plasma cutter, and the plasma cutter really does not do a great job cutting small holes and things. They come out pretty ugly. So I'll have the machine center punch it, and then I can come in and drill and tap and do whatever I need to do. And if I'm being totally honest with you, this is the second time I've made these parts, and this time I just made them so that they can be more adjustable. Because the age-old saying, if you can't make it perfect, make it adjustable. Alright, so we got our first couple of parts for this thing. Let's have a quick little walkthrough. We have the front two bearings, which the saw blade will ride in between. There's just enough clearance for the blade with, you know, 10 thou on each side-ish. And then we have this back roller that the blade will just hit that before it hits any of the metal on here. And then we have this little layer of adjustability here that just takes a 10mm wrench, just making sure that it's the one that I can never find that I need to adjust this. What happens to the 10mm, man? They just disappear. But this is my first layer of adjustability, so I can adjust the angle of attack here. My second layer is through this slot here, and this is where it actually mounts to the bandsaw, and I can move it back and forth like that if need be. The second part, which is on the top, is much the same. We have our little adjustability for the swivel here, and then same layer of adjustability as this guy, except it's mounted onto this plate, which is welded onto this piece, which mounts in the bandsaw and can, it's the movie uppy downy bit. Wow, would you look at that? So I think the next thing we'll start working on, we're gonna get the hinge system put together, which I think I'll just have a plate that this can bolt on with its original mounting points, and that plate will come out at a 45 like so, and the hinge will be right here, so it'll be flopping down this way. So I'm building this part out of angle iron, not just because it's what I have laying around, also because I can use the uprights on it to maybe mount the motor later, maybe mount the hydraulic down feed. And the piece that you see me plasma cutting out is just a notch so that the original blade cover can be reinstalled on the bandsaw. Yeah, I got a lot of stick out here. I got no choice. So there's really no great footage I can get from the lathe. So I'm just gonna do it off camera and explain what I've done. Basically, I have this part, because I couldn't find a piece of pipe. I'm gonna have to drill it out all the way through, wide enough to accept that precision rod. And then I'm gonna ream or bore out the side so I can stick these bushings in there. So I got my stock in here. The game plan, I'm gonna face it, then I'm gonna drill and tap a 3/8 inch hole in it. And I can use that to stick it on the mounts, and then the whole thing can be taken apart if I need to, which I very likely will need to. Alright, here we are. We got plenty of parts here. I think you can see where this is going. These will be the mounts for the hinge, which is in there. This spins independently of the outside here. And this hinge will be mounted on this plate. And the other side welded to the bandsaw. Well, I can't explain what this pink tint is. It's like I hit it with the wire wheel and suddenly it's pink. Huh, magic. It works. It's a little tighter than I'd like it to be. I think we'll let those welds cool, give it another shot of oil, see how it turns then. If it's still a little sloppy, then I'm just gonna have to pull that inner rod out and machine it down a tiny bit. But otherwise, this is looking good. Now, I think the last thing we need to do before we start building this table is we gotta affix the motor and the gearbox. Alright, so this is the motor that we've gone with. And I went ahead and ordered a worm drive gearbox for it. This is just a little cheapy piece of shit. Hopefully it doesn't burn out. And I did the math with the 3450 RPM, 60 to 1, a 14-inch wheel on the bandsaw. That gets us to about 211 feet per minute, if I'm remembering that correctly, for the blade, which is going to be just perfect for cutting metal. Hopefully. Oh. Well then. At some point you just gotta say screw it. Oh. So looking at this gearbox, it looks like these little mounting holes line up with these guys pretty good. So my plan for mounting them, I'm gonna use these little coupling nuts on the existing ones and tighten them down, and then I'll use one of these many lengths number 10 bolts with a fender washer to mount that right onto the shaft. Damn it, I only bought 4 of these and I lost one. That pro tip, always buy one extra part for that inevitable time when you drop it and the little part gnomes come and take it off to their little den. Ah! Got him. Let's see how this thing spins. Look at that. Feels a little worrisome. So we got this thing mounted on here and I just can't believe how well everything's working out. We've got space on the angle iron to where we can drill and tap 2 holes. And then we can use this drop from the other side, tack it in place there, and we got our mount for the other 2 holes. So I'll tack this in place, drill and tap these holes. While we have it on its side like this, I'm going to grind off this little eye poker here. Would you look at all that porosity? That's what happens when you're welding on a sheet of oil. That could be just between you and me, right? Nobody got to know about that. So here's hoping I can tap these holes using the drill. Otherwise I'll be going to the store for a new tap wrench and a new tap. One down. Little plot twist here, I didn't break the tap. I broke the drill. Alrighty. We're nice and sketchily hooked up to the bench now. I've got the new metal blade on there. It's time to give her a whirl. Oh! Damn! It's freaking working! Who'd have thunk it? I'm not even sketched out by it anymore. Let's put the table on and see if I can cut some metal. Let's do it. Holy shit, can you believe it? Look at that. It actually worked. Nothing popped off and killed me. I'm pretty dang happy and very surprised. I don't know if you noticed that skip in the teeth at the beginning of this clip, but I could definitely feel that when I was cutting. But I guess that's what I get for buying cheap metal blades off of Amazon. We did it, man. We cut a piece of metal. So I think that's as good a place as any to cut this video in half. I couldn't even build a slip roller in one video. You think I can build a bandsaw in one? In part 2, we're going to build the table. We're going to do the hydraulic downfeed. We're going to do the coolant system. Hopefully I can fit all of that into one video, but we'll see. If you liked what you saw, maybe hit the old dinger there. Maybe give me a subscribe, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.